So, and you know how you can, if you live with someone long enough, or 2 or 3 people, roommates or your family or whatever it might be, and you have stairs in your house, or even just creaky floors, you learn the sound of the gait of someone's walk, or the plodding, or the direct, or the lilt, or whatever, however their gait is. You can say, oh, that's Dad, or that's Mom, or that's my sis, or that's Joe, or that's Brian, or that's Wendy, or whatever. And I noticed that I could tell who was playing the piano just by the way they were playing. And so I learned phrasing and orchestration and their little picadillos about how they played. My dad was kind of a little bit more free and muddier, and he didn't really, you know, bum out if he missed, if he's doing a long run of sixteenths, if he missed a note, he'd just fudge it, you know. He's a good piano player, but he didn't really care that much. He was just having fun and playing for pleasure. Whereas my mom was classically trained. She had, you know, the grade 10 or grade 12 or whatever it is, and she was a teacher, and so she was always meticulous, and she played pretty much perfectly. So, and that was one of the earliest indications to me that, you know, it's not just the music, it's how you hear the music and how you transfer that to your instrument. And I noticed that was a very valuable lesson later in life when I was listening to real musicians. And I can pick out a good musician, even if they're an amateur, because if they sound good, or if they sound like nobody else, then that's really the mark of a good musician. Or if they just sound like they're playing the notes and it's struggled, that's no good. That's a rank amateur. So I'm hoping one day I can get to the point where someone can listen to me and say, that sounds smooth, or you sound confident, or you look at ease playing, or whatever. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, as everyone says. So let's move on to the next little section of my formative years. I would just like to remind everyone before I go on that there's going to be very little drumming in this video series, except for a few licks here and there that I'm going to demonstrate that were influential on the reasons why I wanted to play the drums in the first place. So if you don't like the sound of my voice or the look of my face, then just shut it off right now, because this is not a drumming series. This is a way of defending myself and proving that I'm not just a Rush drummer clone or whatever, or a Neil wannabe or whatever. I have a deep appreciation for all types of music, and I'm going to demonstrate why that is and how that came to be. Okay, so that's just my little disclaimer that I forgot to do at the beginning. I'm sorry if you've wasted 9 minutes already, but whatever. So as I said, my mother was a piano teacher, and in 1976, when I was 10 years old, we got the baby grand piano, and she tried to teach my sister and I to play the piano, but neither of us really wanted to. We didn't mind playing the piano, but we didn't want to take lessons from our mother. That's the truth of it, really. It's very difficult to take lessons of any kind from a relative, especially one that's that close. So, but we did learn a lot by taking a few lessons, and I did learn to play the piano. I mean, I can play with 2 hands, and I can read music, and I know all the theory. She taught me all the flats and the sharps, and how, you know, major scales and all that stuff. And I know the chords and how that works. And so that was even though I never really learned to play the piano, and I can't play the piano, I can play songs on the piano. Like if you give me a keyboard and a book of music, I can learn a song and play it. But I can't just sit down and sight read and play the piano. I don't know how to play the piano. I know how to play a song that I've learned on the piano. So that's my extent of playing the piano. Okay, whereas with the drums, I considered myself a drummer who can play the drums, not just songs on the drums. So there's the difference. So anyway, about the same time, my dad decided he was going to teach himself how to play the guitar. So he bought an old $50 little acoustic guitar, and he read a few books, and in those days, of course, there was no video training or anything like that. But he loved Gordon Lightfoot and Simon and Garfunkel and Leona Boyd and other great guitarists, just acoustic guitars. And so he wanted to learn how to play that. Plus, he wanted to get my sister and I into music more, and he felt that it was an easier vehicle to sing with the guitar, the popular music of the time. You know, Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Peter, Paul and Mary, Simon and Garfunkel, you know, Pete Seeger, Little Boxes, Waist Deep in the Big Muddy, Burt Bacharach, B.J. Thomas, those kinds of things, with the guitar. So he learned the guitar, and we just loved going downstairs and singing along with my dad playing the guitar. You know, Bob Dylan. We didn't know who Bob Dylan was, but the songs were cool. And Blowing in the Wind, Leaving on a Jet Plane, John Denver. You know, we didn't even understand the lyrics. We knew the words and we sang along, but you know, I remember there's a song by Paul Simon called Duncan on his first solo record, and it goes, the song was, couple in the next room have been going at it all night long, and the guy can't sleep because these two people are having sex in the next room. But I didn't know what that meant, going at it. What they could have been going at anything, really, you know. Or in there's a Simon and Garfunkel song. I can't remember what the title is. I know the title, I just can't remember right now. It says, I get no offers just to come on from a whore on 7th Avenue. It never clicked what he was singing. I knew how to sing it, I knew the euphony of it, but I didn't know what a whore was, and I certainly didn't know, you know, that he was saying that, and oh my God, Paul Simon was saying that? He's a bad guy, you know. But I never thought that because I didn't understand it. So it's interesting looking back once again that these lyrics and these the themes of songs that I sang and loved as a child, I now know what they were actually singing about, and it's even more. It's like watching Bugs Bunny, you know. It's funny as hell when you're 5, but it's even funnier when you're 25 or 35 or 45, because you know, you got something like The Barb Hair of Seville, where they play Rossini's Barber of Seville behind Bugs Bunny and this brute barber, and they're in the, you know, the song goes with them pumping up the barber chairs, like, so they play this, and so they're teaching kids to appreciate classical music, but in a funny way, because Bugs Bunny is funny. But then when you look at it as an adult, you can enjoy it even more. So there's another layer on there. So that was another way I learned a lot of classical music, was watching Bugs Bunny, literally. Porky Pig and Daffy Duck and all that Warner Brothers cartoons and the Hanna-Barberas and all that Saturday morning stuff, all had classical music behind it. Big band music, stuff like that. We didn't even know we were listening to this. It was just the music behind stuff. Before, you know, the 80s probably, all the music in movies and television and all that stuff was classically themed, and it was popular, and it was well written by music writers. It wasn't a pop tune or something like that.